her mindset had changed, and she's like punching this guy, and she goes, and then I went to tell my son all this, and he confided in me. And this is kind of dark and sad, but he confided in her that he was planning to commit suicide that week.
Wow.
And she said he would have never told that old version of me. If you don't want to do it, find a partner. Find somebody who does like to do it. Like, I don't want to create content, but hey, I know some 2 guys that are really fun and cool. And you know what? I'm going to partner with them, and they're going to help my clients, right? And that's how you create irresistible offers.
Yeah, we gotta be careful too. Under that, we gotta put hashtag content creation just to make sure nobody's gonna go somewhere else with that shirt. You know, sloppy, get it out there. Who cares? Yeah, that could be very dangerous.
My girlfriend today say I look pretty hipster with the beanie.
Bro, with the beanie. What? Yeah, no, you're transforming. Okay, here we go.
It's a coffee shop, let me tell you. It's a coffee shop
life. All right, here we go.
We've got
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast,
where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit. But most importantly, we are here to have a good time with you.
That's right. Go to contentsprofit.com and join the community. FONZI, you stole my line, man. You told me last time you told me that was my line, and then you go ahead and steal it.
I know, but as I was reading it, I was like, ooh, I forgot to change the color of it. Is he gonna say it? You know what?
I was ready. I was ready.
I know. I saw you kind of like
you risked it and took the biscuit. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how you're not fat because you eat all the biscuits.
All the opportunities over here.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, today we're talking about private podcasts and how it can help your business grow.
Ooh, and more.
I'm very excited about
Somebody
this.
told us about football games, like apparently American football that we know nothing about. So maybe we'll talk about that too.
We might be, kind of like dipping our toes in water. I was gonna say putting our toes in water.
What's happening, Fonzie? Hey,
it's a coffee. It's a coffee.
Who's the sponsor today?
Good question, good sir.
You're welcome.
Sponsor is your own, the BIZBROS. Yes, we sponsor our own content with Content Momentum.
That's right.
You might be asking yourself, what is Content Momentum? Well, if you want a fractional content team that gives you consistent daily content. I almost struggled there. Consistent daily content. We are here to help you out. All you got to do is reach out to us at BIZBROSCO on Facebook, on Instagram.
And if you enjoy FONZI on a beanie, go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on Instagram at BIZBROSCO.
Yeah, I just got a crazy idea. I'm not even going to say it here. Yeah, it's probably not too appropriate. Guys, if today's guest helped you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends. That, my friend, is your ticket of admission. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
That's right. Not too long ago, we got introduced to an incredible entrepreneur, and not just any entrepreneur, but the first woman to launch an iPhone app.
That is actually insane. She's definitely a powerhouse. She's appeared in Oprah, Tamron Hall, and many other major shows and publications.
Not just that, but she's the founder and CEO of Hero.fm, a platform that lets you monetize your private podcast and more. Are you looking for your next dollars? Ooh, you better listen and take some notes today.
Oh, yeah, baby. Please welcome host of the Radical Shift podcast, founder and CEO of Hero.fm, the one and only
Carla White.
What an intro! Oh my gosh, that's awesome! Boom, boom! Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a party over here. I told you, we just look professional. That's it.
I don't know that beanie today, Fonzie. I don't know.
I know. I almost went and grabbed a beanie and surprised you guys. I was going to come back on with a beanie.
That would have been so cool.
I know. You guys would have been like, what?
It's okay. Yeah. Part two.
It's still an epic moment. I'm just going to say
yep.
Still an epic moment. I mean, having the woman that launched, the first woman to launch an app on iPhone. What? Like, when I read that, I was like, are we about to make history today? I think so. I think so. So, Carla, I'm the brother that I haven't met you yet. It's actually my first time meeting you.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very excited. Thank you for being here today. And for those like me that might not be as familiar, with your story, can you share a little bit about your background? what was that journey on launching that app, and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, super cool. So it kind of like states how old I am. I mean, I probably launched that app while you guys were like playing in diapers or something.
I mean, I have a baby face, so I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm so good.
Okay, so maybe you're a little bit older. Anyway, I didn't expect to be the first woman. I just wanted to get an app out, and it was a gratitude journal app.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the reason I created the app is because I went through a really hard time after my dad passed away, and what pulled me out of it was keeping a gratitude journal. So I was out for a walk, and I'm like, how can I get more people to keep a gratitude journal? Because this is so easy.
Yeah.
And Steve Jobs had just held up the iPhone. So I'm like, hey, I know what, I'll make an iPhone app. And I didn't have an iPhone. I lived in the middle of nowhere, I knew nothing about creating it, but
Wow.
Why not? And so tried to partner up with some people, gave them like all the money I had to try and build it out. And they're like, no, I can't do it. Took my money and ran, telling me things like, apps are fly by the night sort of thing. They're going to be gone by 2008.
Yeah, it's like
nobody's going to be using apps anymore. And so I had a lot of stuff going against me. And plus I had a full-time job. So I was like getting up at 5 a.m. before I went into my day job, trying to find somebody to help me make this app.
Wow.
And got it made. And I was like, okay, if just one person downloads it, I did my awesome. And one person after another. And the only social media platform at that time was Twitter. Okay. Facebook was still closed down.
Yeah.
It was still just for
College students.
Yeah. And Instagram, of course, didn't exist because it's an iPhone app. So it was Twitter.
Yeah.
And I went from having 5 Twitter followers to another one. And I was like, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden, USA Today contacts me. Why did all this happen? Because I put my app out there and I put my story. I told people why I created the app.
Yeah.
And that's where it stood out from all the other apps on the app market. And that's what,
That's such a fun story. Not so long ago, I've heard an episode about technology companies being founded by maybe not tech people, right? And I feel like that could be very intimidating, right? We've thought a lot about, should we go into software? Probably. We have everything that is on spreadsheets on a bunch of tabs should be a software, right? And it's with our own process. And, we talked about our common friend, Holly, and she's seen the behind the scenes on how we work and what we do. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for that. And that's one of the things that is very intimidating for us, right? It's oh my gosh, we have this flow of things. Can we really trust that? But also people handling content, right? In general, they for them is a big jump of trying to delegate some of that, right, to other people. So I really want to dive in, maybe in your experience with the app, right? Trying to find that person, or how do you navigate through that? Do you have some background on it? And then we can relate it to content. But I'm very curious on your specific experience with software, and then trying to navigate through that environment. How was it?
Creating a piece of software?
Creating a piece of software.
Yeah, from idea to software.
Yeah, or hiring. What was that process with your day job, right? Because a lot of the people that listen to the show are maybe in a similar situation, trying to build something, right? And maybe they don't have enough time, right? Or they don't have enough knowledge. And how do we bring people that know this? And specifically with content, right? We see this a lot where people are they are very used to a way of creating, and then they're okay, how do I actually bring somebody on that then can take this to the next level? But maybe I'm scared, maybe I don't know, what to do, or how to go about it. So I'm very curious in your specific experience with your app.
Yeah. So it's funny because I always start people out with, what's your one statement? Who are you serving? What are you giving them? And niche it down, right? Because that becomes your North Star. That becomes your roadmap of where you want to go.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's what features fall under that North Star? Because if it isn't if it doesn't help you get to that North Star faster, it's not required. And more like less is more, right? You need less than what you believe you need. And once you discover that, and then the next step is like, well, who can build it out for me, right? Who can do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question in regards, you said that you got that success because probably opportunity and the story, right? You took the opportunity at the right time, you took action, and also you shared the story with a lot of people. Did you knew this when you were actually doing it, or this is just like a thought of looking back at it and you're like, wow, turns out that I was sharing my story at the right time while at the same time taking action, right? And I'm curious because I feel nowadays a lot of people here, you gotta publish, you gotta create content, right? But back there when Facebook didn't exist, right? When the media channels were owned by other people, and the way to get that exposure was through now I'm hearing the term legacy media, right? While it was through legacy media, I'm curious, like what kept you going on sharing your story? Because that's not easy, right? It's not easy, especially back then when you know that your first appearance is not going to be with one person looking at a Facebook Live, but it's going to be probably with millions of people tuning to Oprah, for example, right? Which blows my mind. Let's talk about that a little bit, right? How was it? How was it stepping into the, here's my story, listen to me, I'm a total badass?
It was so different than that because to be honest, I worked, when I made the app, I worked in a government facility. I worked for NASA. Okay. It's very sterile, very slow moving, not very creative.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I made the app, because I needed a creative outlet.
Yeah.
The other thing is you don't learn how to speak. You don't learn how to communicate like on a podcast like that, like tell stories or anything. Then. So when my app went viral-ish, and I got called up to be on radio programs. And you know these DJs, they're just like throwing it left, right, and center. And I stood there like a deer in headlights, I had no idea what to say. I had no idea how to share my story. I had no idea about anything. And it probably took me about 5 years of repeating my story over and over again before I got it to a point where it's landing. It's landing. But the story that I shared when I launched my app was on the About page for the app website. So I had this About page. Oh, by the way, my website was killer. It looked like a book. And when you went through the pages on the website, or you were flipping through a book back in the day when everything it was called skeuomorphism. You wanted it to look like real objects. You know, now everything is super clean. So my website looked like a book. And anyway, you got to the page that was about, and that's where I shared my story. And I don't know. And I think it was USA Today discovered it first, and they called me up, wanted to know more. They pretty much made it sound a lot better than I told it. And then it just grew from there. Yeah. You know,
I love that side of the story, right? Because you found a place to put the story, right? It was maybe in your eyes, you know, it was there, but it maybe not 100%. And you know, how many times do we feel whenever we're sharing these stories that it's not 100%? Like we do it all the time. We're like, crap, like we're going through this. But the fact that you put it out there, right? It helped the mechanism to find it and then to grab a lot of traction. So things happen, right? But also the fact that you were so proactive at, you know, writing it, sharing it, be like, yes, this has to happen. This means something to me, so it will mean something to somebody else. And when it comes to publishing on our side, we've seen that many times. And the people that we've had on the 45 Live Challenge, for example, or even at the high-end product, the content momentum thing, same thing. We're like, we have to share these things. Like, what is it? What are the moves proactively that we are executing today, so we can grab that traction, that attention, while sharing that story? So, you know, one of those things too is your current project, which we'll talk about in a second, that also helps people leverage that and put it in, and it's so powerful. So why don't you share a little?
I just want to make a comment. You said this so casually, like under the radar. I'm like, I work for NASA. What? Like what? Like Yeah, just NASA. That's so impressive.
Oh my gosh. I worked for the Pentagon. I worked for NASA. And I worked for the Olympic Committee.
What? That's so amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a whole different episode just on those stories right
And
there.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
You just need like Apple. That's it. That's the only company.
Well, I did speak at Apple.
There you go. So
and I mentored some Apple students.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the studio
I
class.
don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Google though. I
Yeah.
don't have Google.
Okay,
Oh,
Google.
so amazing.
Carla's
Yeah,
Google. Carla's coming for you. Just you wait.
Yeah.
That, by the way, just so you know, for the listener, like full disclosure, she did not put any of that in like the information sheet that we asked for, and we're like, hey, brag about stuff, please go brag, and she didn't do it. So it had to. So thank you for sharing. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wanted to transition. I think we're a perfect spot now that we're
Perfect
talking
spot. Now that we're
between,
Can I add something though to what you're talking about?
Oh,
One thing I
it's
want to have
always-
for
always.
the listeners to hear
Yeah.
is with story sharing.
Yes.
In regards to story sharing, like you said, it's all about getting the reps in. Like I don't I didn't put that in there because I don't have enough reps in. I don't feel with my whole story. Right. I have a portion of my story that I nailed. So it's about getting the reps in. And that's what like content sharing is all about. Sloppy, get it out there. Who cares?
Yes, I love it. Sloppy, get it out there. Who cares? Next T-shirt. Just saying.
Your new tagline.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we gotta be careful too. Under that, we gotta put hashtag content creation just to make sure nobody's gonna go somewhere else with that shirt. Sloppy, get it out there. Who cares? Yeah, that could be very dangerous. So yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh, so
Hashtag
there's
content
something on that
creation.
vein with you guys. So I just launched a new webinar, and I messed up on the URL.
It's like sloppy, get it out there. Who cares.com.
The URL is higher, not harder.
Hold on, this is so yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it. Business can be fun. Just gonna put that out there.
absolutely.
Yeah, it can be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love this.
That one with golden boulders together, people will think very crazy things. But
This
just
is awesome.
Thanks for sharing, Carl. This is incredible. So obviously, right, like the fact that you're so comfortable sharing this, you've put in the reps, right? And you've coached incredible people. You work with people, and I'm like, yeah, you clowns. Yes, we are clowns, absolutely. And I know that that's coming from love, by the way. So transition to your new product, right? What you're doing now, I think is incredible. It's another avenue, right, for a lot of people to find resources, monetize, serve their audience. Like it just hits a lot of the things that we currently talk about with whatever platform, the show or social media, even. So, do you want to share a little bit about Hero? Like, how did that started? What do you guys do, and how are you freaking crushing? Because I've seen the names that you guys have been helping, and they're all crushing. And so, spoiler alert, we'll be getting into the action some way or another. We've been talking the last couple of weeks.
Before you start, is it pronounced Hero or Hyro? And I'm gonna spell it Hero. Okay, it's spelled HIRO.FM, correctly?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I just want people going
link below. Yeah, you can scroll down.
I just want people going to the right link over here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So here's what happened. I had this app out, Gratitude Journal, and people are like, "Oh, I had this huge list," and people are like, "Oh, you should be making $1 an email." I'm like, I ain't making $1 an email. And then I wrote this book. This one, I don't know, this one right here.
Yeah.
Called Idea to iPhone.
Ooh.
And this woman got it, and she goes, "That would be a really good lead magnet for a funnel." And I'm like, oh, great. What's a lead magnet? What's a funnel? And so she introduced me to this whole world. Okay, so now I'm like, oh, I know how to make $1 an email. And I took the people who got my app, and I said, hey, come join me in this challenge, this 21-day challenge, where I'm going to go live every day for 21 days. Like, insane. You guys know what that's like.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work. Yeah. So, but it was great. Like people were getting some, I was giving away prizes, and at day 1, there'd be 100 people on. And by day 21, there'd be like 2 people duking it out for the last prize because everybody paid off. And then a lady came on to my challenge and she said, I know I'm not going to watch the videos. I know I'm not going to watch the replays. Just give me everything and like just rip the audio. I promise I'll listen to it. So I spent like 2-3 days ripping all the audio out, put it on a Google Drive, and she disappeared. And then about a week later, she pops up live in our private Facebook group and she's like, I just binged everything. And I know we deserve to be grateful, and we deserve all the, like her mindset had changed, and she's like punching the sky, and she goes, and then I went to tell my son all this, and he confided in me, and this is kind of dark and sad, but he confided in her that he was planning to commit suicide that week.
Wow.
And she said he would have never told that old version of me. And I was like, whoa, she wouldn't have like gotten to that place if I didn't take that time to make the audios. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make every challenge. We're going to do like, you get the audio version too. So, but there was no platform to distribute it. So it was all kind of sloppy, a lot of text, like back and forth with help messages. But here's the thing that I discovered that was like, I didn't expect. The completion rate were way higher, right? So people are feeling good about themselves. Yeah. And they got addicted to listening to me, which I'm like, okay, weird. But, and they're like, I need more. I feel like I got here, now what? Yeah. So then I had a higher ticket coaching program that filled up. And I'm like, this is great. The audio is the key. It was a pain to create the audios every month, but worth it.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit. And so the schools all closed down and my kids are at home. And I don't know if you can hear the youngest one, but he's kind of loud. And we'd be having meetings like this. And he would be like saying things he'd be shooting cream cheese out of a Nerf gun all over the place. Trying to have meetings.
He's a very creative little kid.
He'd be yelling in the background, Mom, wipe my butt. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, these people paid me thousands of dollars for these calls. Like, I can't have you doing this, bud. So I was a little stressed. So I closed down my inner circle and I built Hero. I'm like, I'll take this time while everything's closed down for like a month, because we're going to be open in about a month, right?
Yeah. Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. And created Hero. And I just like created a minimal viable product, like the very least it could be. And I'm like, who wants this? I'll let you have a lifetime access for like $5 or something really ridiculous like that. And I got a whole bunch of people to sign up. I'm like, okay, cool. People want this. Yeah. So then I rebuilt it properly. And that just got launched like not too long ago, the rebuild.
Wow.
Like a couple months ago. So yeah.
That's an awesome story. The whole journey from not knowing what a lead magnet is to, literally that is so impactful how putting in the effort and then seeing the results on the other end with that lady, right? And her son, that was like mind blowing. And that causing an effect on you that is like, I need to keep doing this. And then seeing the opportunity, right? It's like, wow, like this can just be something that people consume and would pay for it as well. And then testing the market, right? Just want that, hey, you get lifetime access if you consume this. You're getting people to raise their hands, and now it's on to the next step, right? I love the whole journey. And I mean, clearly you said is recent that you did all this. Did you put some of the things that you learned inside of building that iPhone app to practice with this, right? So for example, do you know how to build a website, or do you have to hire what things, right? Maybe brought you back to building that iPhone app?
So I know how to make software. Okay. I know the process from this is the idea to this is what we need to do to launch. I know enough technical that I can get myself in trouble. I don't want to code, right? I code. I was a developer for Microsoft for a little bit, and I bet they still have bugs in their software that I should So I'm not good, but I can understand enough where I can speak to the developers. Also, this is what I was doing with NASA is I am really good at taking extremely complex systems and boiling them down to like, this is a button you have to push on. That's it. So I used what my best skills were at and started with that and then outsourced the rest. I found a developer to help me make the MVP.
Nice.
And, it wasn't all, I mean, it was a rough journey up to now. Like there is a lot of learning curve still because making a web app is different than an iPhone app.
Yeah, absolutely.
What pushes you, right? Because in our journeys, right, we encounter these moments that you're like, crap, should I actually be doing this, right? Like, and when we started, a little bit of the story. We started with the stickers, and then the t-shirts, and then the social media randomness, and then it evolved right to the thing that we have now. And it has been. We look back, and it's almost been 7 years, right? It's like what?
Yeah.
And for us, we have our whys like really set up there. Family is obviously a big one, but also we've been loving the process, right? I've been reflecting a lot into like why. And we've tried jobs, we've tried different things, and we always come back to this thing, right? At the end of the day, it's like that process really pushes us, right? So you just said that you had a lot of like bumps in the road, and you're like, okay, it's not easy, right? For those that are starting their journey in publishing, you said we got to put in the reps, right? It takes time, especially like if you're building a product in a company, like those things are gonna come, our way. So how do you stay on track? How do you what moves you forward?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good question because, we have a mutual friend, Holly. She's spent many hours on the phone with me, talking me off the ledge. I'm just going to delete. I'm just going to hit the delete button. It's going to be over. Like you do. You have those days, right?
Yeah.
And, it's about where you're putting your focus on. And it takes a lot of training to put your focus on the outcome that you want, not the outcome you don't want. And even though there are corrections that show up along the way, angry customers or, partnerships that don't work out or things like that, it's, what do you want? Like, what is it that you really want to do? And with Hero, what I really wanted to do was to create a platform so people could get their word out quickly. Like podcasts, we all know that takes a lot of work. Courses, like a Kajabi course or something like that, you got to create the videos, you got to do it's so much work. Yeah. But with Hero, you can pick up your phone and just record, upload it. We have a sales page already done. Boom. You can sell instantly. And that's really what I wanted because education comes from each other. Yeah. That's where it comes from. Really. Yeah. Schools are good, but the real education that you need to really create a difference and impact is from each other. But so many people aren't creating that product because of all the technical, all the steps involved. Absolutely. All the things. It's too daunting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resistance in the path. That is for sure. I had a previous question and I was like, remember for when she's done talking. And I totally forgot about it. But let's go with, the headline is there for a reason, right? Private podcast and how it can help your business. So you just mentioned, obviously, that is less creation time, less resistance. You guys get a sales page in there included as well. But because the world of info products is huge right now and it's growing at a crazy pace, right? But people see it, I feel like people see it more as I have to create the video course, right? So what would you tell somebody to convince them, right? Or not convince them, show them the truth, right? Show them that they need to be spending time on developing these audios, right? And maybe what are some of the best practices to market this? How can we drive traffic through here? Podcasting, right? But how can people benefit from this private podcast?
Yeah. So if you already have a product, creating an audio version. So the way Hero works is they listen just like a podcast. They don't have to install new software. They don't have to log in and they can't share the access to a friend. So it's
wow.
privacy protected. Yeah. So, which, isn't possible with courses. The other thing is, if you do that, if you create an audio product that allows your customers, like I learned, allows them to get through it faster. Most courses have a 3% completion rate.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty, and the juice, the real money is when they complete and they come back for more.
Yes.
Okay. Whether it is a workshop, whether it is a 5-day event, whether it is a 30-day class, when they complete that, they're going to buy again because it's cheaper for the repeat buyers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the other thing to keep in mind is there's a huge market space that they don't have the time to sit down and watch the videos. And we learn better. Yeah, right? Yeah, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, you learn more, you retain more if you're in an active state as you're learning. So it's better to actually even listen and be out walking your dog.
I have a funny story there. I remember one of my last classes in college. I went into an entrepreneurship minor, right? It was like I need to stretch my I need to stretch my studies so I can stay here in the States legally longer, right? So I'm like, okay, what are the classes that I'm actually going to take, right? And it was one of the entrepreneurship. And I remember walking into that class. And by the way, this is the one class I remember the most, right? And we had Play-Doh in our desks, right? And the professor stands up, and it was like 20 of us, and it's like, hey guys, by the way, Play-Doh, do whatever you want with them. Do not take out your notebooks. Leave them in your backpack. I'm gonna start talking, and then you guys play with your Play-Doh, do whatever you want. And it was insane. I remember this experience like it was yesterday, right? Because, well, first of all, it was very unique. But also, I remembered for like 2-3 months exactly what he was talking about because I was in this state of like movement, right? Like you said, like action, just playing with the Play-Doh, building something. And I was actually listening to the guy, what he was saying, instead of like focusing on my notes, right? And then I remember going back and be like, okay, this is the thing that I take. What is what we call now golden boulder that I'm going to take home with me. And that's what I wrote down. But I remember during the class, it was great. It was incredible. And now I'm connecting both, and the product that you are presenting out to the world is incredible because I look back at my consumption habits, and it's like I'm driving, I'm listening to a podcast, right? Or to an audiobook. I am walking the dog, I'm listening to something, right? And it's incredible how much information I retain in those cases.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more opportunities for consuming audio than consuming video, right? Like you cannot go out on the street walking and just watching a video. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be kind of dangerous. I mean, you know, there's some stories in there of people playing Pokemon Go and thing in the street. It's not good, right? So, but instead, you can just put an audio and start listening and be like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Quick tip, shame on me on this one. I need to test the platform myself. But there's actually, I absolutely love about a podcasting platform that almost nobody uses. It's called Air Podcast, AIRR. And they let you take what they call air quotes. So as I'm listening, when something resonates, I'm like, oh, this is so epic. And I press a button and it selects that part of like those 45 seconds. And I can save it and I can, export that. If it has a transcript, it actually exports the transcript and it's absolutely amazing because I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I want to get back to this. Boom. And then I can share it. I don't know. Does your platform have something like this, or maybe you
feature?
I'm writing it down, honey.
Yes, let's go.
The developers on the other side of the camera. Yeah, let's go. Ready to rock and roll. Ready. When is the episode launching? In 2 weeks? Okay, it's gonna be ready then.
Yeah. Oh, my developers are the best. Seriously, I'll do that. I'll be like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, okay, it's done. I'm like,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Awesome.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, and I want to highlight the process like that you shared, right? And going back to listening to feedback from your actual customer, right? And then giving them really what they want, because at the end of the day, what we do is to serve that person, right? So it's incredible, and I hope everybody has been taking notes throughout the episode, because those are really like the things and the frameworks. And we're with every episode that we have, we start distilling this is like loss, right? I guess the loss of business and the loss of serving to your own customers. And at the end of the day, like what you said, that process from like all this stuff to like push a button, this is what you've been telling us all day long today about, you know, publishing and sharing your stories, back to basics, right? And the fact that you have now a product that can elevate that so much and be accessible to many people, 100%. We've talked about the concept of podcasting real estate, right, in the past, and we're like, okay, how can we own real estate, right? And some of them can be closed communities, right? Or like for a closed community for a certain like specific goal that we have versus a bunch of other podcasts out there, and you know, to each their own. But I feel like this is such an incredible resource because what you just said on the completion rate, people will actually finish and they will know you better and they will know the product better and they will have success with your product, which is ultimately what we want. So thank you for sharing, Carla. I appreciate it.
I'm curious, what are some of the best practices you've seen of people using Hiro.fm, right? Like what is giving them results?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the individual. Like I have clients where I teach them how to replicate the process that I had. So using it like an audio sales letter to bring them into your higher ticket program. But then I have other people who just take their existing content. Like I've had a client, she took an event she hosted 2-3 years ago and just uploaded it and then threw the link out to her list. And I think she made $3,000 in one day. Just like, and that's the thing is you guys know this. There's so much content sitting out there, legacy content that is golden.
Yes.
I mean, one of my, I'm going to have a big announcement. It might be coming out by the time this comes out, but it's somebody I'm partnering with. And this dude has content back in the day when you had to get on a phone and dial in a certain number. I don't know, maybe you guys don't know this, but you had to dial a certain number.
We've heard the stories. We haven't experienced it ourselves, but I've heard the stories.
We had a dial-in phone in our house, okay?
That is true.
And then you get on a call together. Yeah, that's pre-Zoom.
What's it called? What was it? Like a tele? No, it was called telewebinar. No,
hey, you are making us look bad by asking that question. Okay.
Really? I mean, I'm 30, 32.
A teleconference call. A teleconference call, I think, is what they call it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You got
Anyways.
a special number, and like a code. You had to punch in a special code, special digit set. Anyway, so that's how long he'd been doing that.
Wow.
And, we're going to come out with some cool products with him. And
Woo, can't wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, his knowledge sharing, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's the shortcuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is so cool. I can't wait to hear who's going to be. I'm already thinking about names. I'm like, ooh, is this person?
Oh, take
or
a
this
guess,
other person?
and I'll tell you hot or cold.
I'm going crazy. Dan Kennedy.
Oh, I wish.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, that's a good guess. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
If you got a connection, let's hook up.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking of Dan Kennedy too, honestly. I don't know. Rich Schaefer already does technological stuff. He was here on the podcast, but I don't know if he was back then.
Todd Brown, maybe. No, he's too young. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Are we putting names out here?
Yeah, one more guess. One more guess,
Fonzie. I have another name, but I don't know.
Throw it.
Frank Kern.
Ooh.
Ooh,
that's a
good one. I love Frank Kern.
Yeah.
He reminds me of my older brother.
Yeah, he's every marketer's older brother. Frank Kern, Carla, what has been like your biggest challenge when publishing, right? Like whether that was like for your app or like throughout the journey, what do you feel was your biggest challenge there?
Yeah, second guessing myself, right? You know, because I'm going to be working with you guys. And what did I say? Well, I got to make sure the content's right before I give it. And thank goodness Louis said, no, just give it to us. We'll decide if it's good or not. You know, and I think that's what you have to do. You have to divorce yourself from what other people think all the time, because it's not about you. It's about them. Always about them. So I think really that's been my hardest thing is my hair right? Do I look right? Is my background right? Is it, is the audio right? Is it so many, and I guess that's kind of, in my alchemy, I was told it's like some individuals can live in the rough, sleep in the rough, camp, but for me, no room service is camping. Okay. So
yes.
Where
I feel like I fall in that category too. By the way,
yeah. So it's kind of like that level of like I need everything just nice in order for me to feel comfortable.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it carries, and if you're like that, then realize it and just let somebody else do it, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to come in your own way.
Yeah, well, Carla, this is actually a phrase that I heard from somebody very, very wise, and it is sloppy, get it out, who cares? You know, so
hey.
Work higher, not harder. Higher.
that's right. I love it, but yes, you know, on a more serious note, what you say is so true, and a lot of people are second guessing themselves, and they're having a very difficult time putting themselves out there, whether that is self-doubt, right, fear of failure, fear of success, whatever you want to name it. It's a challenge, right? So, and I personally believe that everybody has to find their own way to, if they want to, be able to put themselves out there regardless, right? If you like to make it extremely amazing, right? And super crisp and everything, well, develop a framework that allows you to do that, but still get it out. Like, I think part of the process is understanding that you cannot try to find perfect, because if not, you're never gonna end up publishing anything, right? But it's an iteration process. Okay, I can do it as good as I can right now, but I still get it out, and then I learn, and then I go back at it again, and I try again, and it's just gonna improve, right? And I want to challenge, you know, the listener right now to think about a moment in time where you try to do something in a perfect way, and you were like, I'm not gonna get this out until this is perfect. And I want you to think if you actually ended up getting that thing out, right? Because you know, we used to have a previous podcast that was called Brews and Bros, and guess what? We recorded 5 episodes. I was trying to make it as perfect as possible, and it has never seen the light, you know? So,
Oh, really?
yeah, we never published it because I was like, it's gonna be perfect. Multiple cameras and this and that, and this and that ended up in a few files in the computer, never to be seen, right? So
Beer knocked off the computer, like it was just a mess.
maybe we can put them in high road.
Maybe we can put it,
Just saying.
like as
There you
a
go.
bonus.
Make money off it. But here's my take on that is why Clubhouse took off so well is because everything had to be raw and real, right?
Yeah.
We are so done with polished. We are so like, everything's so polished.
Yeah.
Let's just get raw and real.
100%.
That's true.
You know, I love the frictionless aspect to a lot of the things that we've shared today, right? And it's like at the end of the day, if we understand that we have to create, right? Why do we keep adding friction to that creation process? Whether we need to get it out as soon as possible and get those reps, right? It took you so many, right? It's taking us so many. Like we see these as part of those reps, right? And one episode is going to be better than the next. One episode is going to be better than the last one, and so on, right? And sometimes episode, what's today? Go ahead, sorry.
Can I share something on that vein?
Yeah.
So I was on this show called The Tamron Hall Show, which is like a daytime talk show.
Yes.
At like 10 a.m. on NBC or something like that. And when they had me go on the show, they told me exactly what to say. Like, this is a question, and this is what you're going to say.
Oh, wow.
And you know how that was probably my worst interview on this national television because it was so rehearsed. It was so like, this is how we want, because they wanted the whole conversation to go a certain way.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to share my URL. So
What?
no, the higher, not harder.
You're like, nope.
They didn't want me to go there.
I'm gonna go to Content Profit because they let me say all this nasty stuff.
I know.
I think I would have been the worst
So
one.
anyway, but that's true. Like, and I don't feel like people were nice. They're like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
did so good," but I didn't feel like it was
Interesting.
connected. I don't feel like it connected.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I mean, you know, you got to feel good at doing the things that you want at the end of the day. Yes, there's going to be discomfort because it might be something new out of your comfort zone. but still look and do it in a way that feels true to you, right? You go to YouTube, you see all these sort of creators, some that are, sloppy, getting it out there, right? And then there's others that like the thing super polished, but they are getting it done, and that is the thing. And so I just want to encourage you listening, not you, Carla, because you're doing a great job, but you listening right now, if you are thinking about putting your message out there, sharing your story, right? I'm gonna quote Nike right here. Just do it. Right? Nike sponsor us if you listen to this. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, that's a great lesson, Carla. Thank you so much,
Carla. What would be an action point for that entrepreneur, right? That person that is maybe on that daily job and they're trying to get out of the funk because they have a message or they have a product that they really want to put out there. What would be something that they can do today to move things forward?
Yeah. So what I like to think about is if you're going to create a program or a process, think about where your client is right now, or that ideal customer is right now. And then where do you want them to be? Mm-hmm. And what are the 4 steps that they need to take that you want to do, that you want to take as well with them to get them to that result, right? So having more in a program doesn't make it more valuable. It's just what end result and what 4 steps.
Yeah.
And the funnel world likes to teach things that are called stack. So you get this and then you get that and the whole value is this. What I like to do is I like to teach steps. So first we're going to do this. And then once you get that success, what we're going to do is this. And then we're going to do this. And then you're going to be here. And then I like to do what I call a 2-minute mind movie or a 4-minute mind movie where I paint the picture in their mind of what it looks like when they've arrived. So what is that picture? Like, you got to get it clear in your mind so you can paint it in their mind.
Yeah.
What are the steps?
So powerful.
We have to talk about that. I know we're running out of time here, so this is going to be for the next episode. But that is something you put on your form, right? That we sent you. That actually surprised me because you put multi-sensory mind movie and it's trademark. And I was like, very, very interesting. So I'm going to, again, maybe we can talk behind the cameras because I cannot wait so long. But we're going to do a second part to this. So, our friends that are listening can also get some out of the goodness right here.
Yeah. Carla, I remember a video I saw or it was one of the clips that Alex Hormozi posted, right? And we talked about Alex last time, but it was like, hey, I paid $700 for this. I think it was like a 5-minute video on Facebook ads a long time ago, right? And for him, I mean, for everybody, like a 5-minute video, $700. A lot of people might not.
I think it was a 40-minute video.
It was a 40-minute video.
Yeah, it was around that.
Okay, that completely.
I mean, but still,
700.
It's still like $700 for 40 minutes. Like it like could be, people will be like, oh, you can find a free whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was saying, hey, that was the best $700 that I spent because he solved my problem, right? It doesn't have to be like a 10-hour course with so many add-ons or whatever, on the stack side of things. It has to solve a problem. For him, those $700 and that problem helped him make millions, right? So it's like, okay, what's the upside on those things? And keep it simple. And I love your approach. What are the next 4 steps? And it's like, it removes a lot of the overwhelm. When you were explaining it, I'm like, oh, it just took that weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, and not only that, I think you mentioned something really key here that I want people to pay attention to is 4 steps that they have to take that you want to take with them. I think that is so key because sometimes we create offers that is like, yeah, you need this and this and this and it's going to solve your problem. But I don't really want to do that either, right? Like, you need to do that, but, figure it out, or I'm going to give you some resources in here.
If you don't want to do it, find a partner, find somebody who does like to do it. Like, I don't want to create content, but hey, I know some 2 guys that are really fun and cool. And you know what? I'm going to partner with them and they're going to help my clients. Right. And that's how you create irresistible offers for people, is you figure out how to get them there quickly and who can do it. It doesn't have to be you.
Yes.
You can create a team.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I love that part so much because I feel like in the past that has been something that, it might have given me resistance, which is, I got to create this because they need this, but it has to be me and I don't really want to do it. Or I want to do it, but I have to learn it before doing it, right? And it's like I have that personality that is, I find something new and I'm like, I need to learn, right? You know, we can count with both hands how many times I've tried to learn how to play guitar and learn how to trade stocks and learn how to a bunch of other things. So when we were talking about software, I was like, oh, I need to learn how to code. No, you don't need to learn how to code. You need to find somebody that loves that stuff. And it's the same for your offers, right? We need to find that one person that is going to be happy and is going to love to take your clients from point A to point B.
Carla, where will you be if you didn't publish?
Oh, what a good question. Yeah, I definitely started, so when I was working at NASA, have you ever seen like a cubicle farm? Like, so it's a big open sort of warehouse building. Yeah, cubes, no windows at all. No natural sunlight at all. Ooh. And even like if you were lucky to have an office, no windows in the office, no outside internet in there, like totally cut off. It was like have you heard of Area 51? So it would be like you get in there and you're cut off from the rest of the world.
Wow.
And I feel like I'd be selling my soul to that 2-week paycheck that just didn't increase, right? It just barely got up there. Oy. And I don't know, like, what's the ripple on effect? My health, my kids, my family, my relationships, So, and that's a really good point. And what did I do to transition that? I put a story out there that was uncomfortable. I mean, I didn't like sharing that I got to such a dark place, but I didn't do it for me. I did it for that person who is going to get my app. So they didn't feel like they were alone, because I felt like I was alone. Like I was a weirdo, man. Everybody else had their together, but I didn't. And so that's why I just wanted one person to know, look, it's cool. You're not the only one. I went there. So
that's cool. I'm very brave at that. I'm sure that it wasn't easy at the first time that you started sharing that, but thank you for that, because now you're impacting so many, including us. And we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, exactly. So keep crushing it, guys.
You too.
Thank you, Carla.
Where can people find you? Where can people connect? Where can they learn about you, Hero, your groups, the goodness that's coming? Where can they go?
Well, the easiest spot is carlawhite.org. Let's just go take them there. Okay, carlawhite.org. That has all the links. So
perfect.
Awesome.
Easy peasy. Guys, if you're listening, all you got to do is scroll down and click that link. It's going to take you there, and it's so good. It's goodness.
Quick, Carla, is your gratitude app still alive?
Yes.
Yeah?
So get this. It's like 14 years.
Wow.
14 years in the app stores, 0 funding, 1-woman team.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Hold on.
And every now and then it still gets into the top of the chart. So, I got a sound effect.
Is this called Gratitude Journal? Is that how it's called?
It's called My Gratitude Journal, I think.
is in your carlawhite.org?
It's in carlawhite.org.
All right, cool. We'll check it out.
Love it. Carla, anything else you want to add before we head out?
I think you guys summarized it so well. Like, if you just start out saying, like, just someplace, sharing your message, the alternative of not doing that is worse than doing it, right? Like, whatever horror stories you're making up in your mind, not doing it's going to be worse.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I wonder if
multisensory mind movie.
I was gonna say that
just right there.
I was like, I wonder if that's a step of the multisensory mind movie, because I just visualized it so perfectly.
Yeah, we both did. We're like, what would be the worst in it? And like, and then there's worse than that. Yeah, I'm publishing. Like, we're talking, baby. Give me that mic.
Cube farms, no windows, right?
Yeah, the casino without the fun, man. It's like crazy.
It sounds like a horror movie.
The casino. Yep. Fonzie, anything else you want to add?
No, I am extremely happy for connecting with you, Carla, and grateful, extremely grateful. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I can't wait to keep connecting. I know we're obviously going to stay in contact and you're going to come here for part 2, and eventually maybe we'll do something in person together. That'll be awesome. So thank you so much.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Fonzie, I have a question for you.
I might have an answer.
Are your ears hot with the beanie or what's going
The
on?
headphones, yeah. My ears are like on fire right now.
All right, guys, with that said, thank you so much for tuning into the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite social media platform and at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. And if today's guest helped you move one step forward towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode. And don't forget, Sloppy, get it out. Who cares? See ya.